right, ladies, let's show them who runs this world.
Welcome back to A Faster Me. We're out here, CBR number 2. And I knew from the first CBR that we were going to be in for a pretty fast-paced race with the Masters 35 Plus and the 4-5 category. So I knew heading into the race that, it was going to be pretty intense. One thing that I like to do in my workouts prior to the race is kind of mentally envision the race. I did not realize that we would be on this side, so my visualization was the other track. So just something kind of, I know it kind of helps me. So here you see Laura. I just passed her. She is in her first race ever, so congratulations to her. There she is in the screen. Just her progress from a year ago, just kind of picking up the bike and starting to ride, and seeing her in her first race is really awesome. So great job to her. Nice to have a teammate in the race. Looking forward to future races. So anyway, I think mentally was never really quite ready. So I knew ahead of time what I needed to prepare for, but I just wasn't really ready to race. I didn't quite have a concrete plan like I do a lot of times coming into the race. And you can kind of see here, I'm like kind of drafting, I'm kind of on a wheel, but I'm not decisive. And that definitely hurt me. You'll see pretty soon I fall asleep, and it's a very different race for me this time. So definitely a humbling experience, and just lets me know kind of some things that I need to work on. So there's Summer. I know, many of you are following her, 2 Wheels and a Girl. So she is definitely a great one to follow, and definitely a very smart rider, picks good wheels to follow. I can definitely learn a few things from her.
Yeah, because there's 3 riders just went by that you could have jumped on their wheel, and obviously you don't have your race mindset going right now. And honestly, you said it was a humbling experience, but this happens to everyone, especially when they're kind of strong. I remember a couple guys did this at Tour de Marietta last year. They're both super strong, over 4.5 watts per kilo, and they thought they could sag off and then catch back up to the peloton, and that once the race starts getting a little faster, that's just not going to happen.
And that's definitely what I kind of thought, because I wasn't trying to put all my effort in, because there was some added preems in. So I said, it comes back together usually. Okay, I have some time, it'll slow down, and I just didn't put those efforts in when I needed to. And I took for granted that I have been able to catch back up to the group when I've let gaps open up, and it's something we've talked about in previous videos, that those are really bad habits to practice, because as the competition gets, steeper, that's just not happening. And this was one of those times where, you just cannot let those gaps open up.
Yeah, and you see Marlena over there putting in a good dig from Peach Cycling. That would have been perfect if you would have went on the left side. You chose to go on the right side of Laura, and these other 2 girls are actually getting dropped also. Marlena put in a good effort and caught back onto the group, and that sometimes just choosing the right or the left side can make a big difference when the pace is hot.
And I don't know, it's hard to see in the video, or maybe depending on what screen you have it on, but I think we were stretched out unlike anything I've ever seen in a women's field. We were stretched out almost from a corner to corner. And I guess with the women's field being a little bit larger in the last couple of races that we've had this season, it's able to do that, but it just means that the pace is fast. And here in my memory banks, I'm drafting, and I am nowhere close to drafting, and I just wasn't seeing that there was so much separation opening up until it's too late. And so I think here, maybe this next corner, I'm going to kind of realize like, oh shoot, we're getting dropped, and try to go around. And I'm still delusional at this point, thinking I'll just catch right back up to the peloton and prepare for my next move. And as you'll see, that just doesn't happen. So unfortunately, I don't have any footage of the majority of the race. It's just me doing a nice time trial effort, I guess preparing for the UCLA road race, which was my first race ever, coming up later this month.
Yeah, well, this is one of the things that a lot of new riders get in trouble for is drafting someone that's being dropped. Like, obviously, as you see here, you're like easily strong enough to go around. But yeah, it's hard to see sometimes. If you're 3-4 riders back and that third rider's getting dropped, you think you're still attached to the peloton because you're drafting 2 other people and they're losing touch. And, you know, if you're not paying attention, once you notice they're losing touch, it's over.
And that's where I say I fell asleep. I really just was not kind of focused and ready to race and paying attention. And gosh, and still at this point, I really think that I can reel in the peloton. But
Well, you actually make a little progress here for, I don't know, maybe half a lap, but it's really, I mean, it's really not, it's not in the cards. Once you have, you know, a mixed field like this and girls that are really strong, I mean, it's the same for us in the open races. If we lose touch, like, it doesn't even matter how strong you are, you're not coming back by yourself. You know, to your credit, you did a great job. You averaged 213 watts for 30 minutes. That's a solid effort, and over almost 22 miles per hour by yourself without the peloton. And I know some of the girls that finished up front, they averaged 23 in the peloton. So you're basically 1 mile per hour slower by yourself fighting all the wind. And a 30-minute effort, 30 minutes straight at 213 watts, a lot of guys cannot do that.
well, that doesn't matter unless it was a time trial, because the race was a good 3 corners in front of me by the time we finished. So hey, you know, I appreciate the
Look, you gotta look at the
work.
bright side sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta find a positive and go with it.
I know. I said to somebody after, well, that was my plan. I'm just preparing for the UCLA road race. We've been training threshold, so that was my goal this
Yeah.
race, is to just do a threshold effort.
Yeah, so this is basically the closest you get, and you're really not that far right now. But the problem is, like anything, they have a gap, and you're going about the same speed they are. So obviously, you're not going to make up this little 40-yard gap here. And you know, they're switching off and different things. There's not the same girl pulling the whole time, and you are the same girl pulling the whole time.
Yeah, I think what it could be one of those reels or memes. You know, you done messed up when, and I knew I done messed up when I heard the announcers announce another preem
Yeah.
when I was still not connected. So I knew that was all she wrote, because it was just going to get faster and faster. And I think because of the additional 4 cash preems, there was a preem almost every lap with the bar points. From what I heard, because I stopped being able to hear the announcers at a certain point. So it's just what other people told me after the race. So
All you heard was your heartbeat, huh?
yeah.
That's about it at that point. So
Well, no, I mean, I had a little bit left in the tank, but it just was, I knew at this point, I know that I'm not catching up. I'm just trying to maintain and see what I can hold for a consistent period of time. So
yeah, it was a great effort. I mean, I yelled to you from the sideline to just hold 200 watts because you're kind of in no man's land, and you did a great job holding a steady pace. You're catching people now. I think you catch a couple more girls before the end.
And I was hopeful to have them jump on and work together. So, you know, I think you can hear me, I don't know if you can hear me say, kind of hop on. I'm hopeful. I don't realize that either, you know, they were probably popped and couldn't hop on. Didn't realize that they hadn't hopped on because I was just kind of going. But, you know, that was my goal, is to just kind of reel people in, and then, you know, maybe a little delusional also to think that a few of us could catch the peloton, because at this point in the race, it's over, halfway over.
Well, you're only down to the last few laps now, but honestly, if you would have looked at your speed when you passed that girl, you're still doing 23 miles per hour. And I mean, you're really, to your credit, you're going at a fast pace by yourself. So yeah, when people were in the peloton and they get dropped, then obviously their speed's going to drop a lot slower than that. So it's just the timing. Sometimes they just don't have the energy at that moment when you're passing.
Yeah, see, and since I got dropped so early, I just was able to be fresh when I started my effort by myself.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think maybe you catch one more girl. I can't remember. One or two. I cut some time out, so we did fast forward a few laps, and there's only a couple laps left now. But yeah, no, I think it was a great, steady effort. It's unfortunate circumstances, but it's a lesson, and it's something that happens to all of us. I've been there myself. You kind of, you know, lose focus for a second, and that's all she wrote, you know?
Yeah, definitely. But good lesson to be learned. I'm definitely not that experienced, but I did take a little bit for granted because I have not been dropped like this since my first couple races. There's
Your
times.
first crit, actually, that last time.
Well, circuit races are a little bit different when you have like 3, 4, 5s together. Sometimes just the distance. So, you know, I have been dropped, but not in a crit since, yeah, probably my first.
2020 Marietta.
Yeah.
Ellen Strickland had a great showing in 2020 Marietta.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you saw to the side right there, that was a couple riders that had been in a crash right there, and they're fixing their chains and stuff like that to get back into the race. It was a minor crash. No one was hurt. I think it was a cross of wheels or touch of wheels. And if you want to see that, it's on Two Wheels and a Girls channel.
So yeah, here's one more rider to catch, and I think that's about all she wrote.
Yeah, and the same thing. You tell her to jump on if she can, and I think it was just the same thing. She was just a little tired at the time that you passed her and wasn't able to hop on your wheel.
I was looking forward to working together with somebody. So, you know, maybe next time.
Yeah. Well, I say stay in the peloton if you want to work with people. Yeah.
Or maybe try to get in a breakaway. Don't be trying to work with somebody from the back of the pack.
Exactly. But no, so you're coming into, I think you may have one lap to go, and you know, honestly, the peloton was really fast because even though the speed that you went, because you were off the back early, you were, you know, in danger of actually getting lapped. You wouldn't have gotten lapped. You passed them. You already passed already, but the peloton finished, you know, maybe, I don't know, 30, 40 seconds behind you.
Well, and honestly, 1 or 2 more laps, I may have been lapped.
Yeah, but there wasn't because it was only 30 minutes. 30-minute race. It was over. You're done.
Well, if.
Yeah. Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think this is your last lap here, and yeah, I mean, honestly, that's what it was. It was good work for Pear Blossom. We got a large threshold session in, and you know, hopefully it'll pay off in a couple weeks.
Yep. No, but what I was gonna say is I took a little bit for granted is being able to just practice bad habits and still be able to catch up because of the varying speeds that the races typically have been, but that just is not the case, and so.
Yeah. Well, just remember too, last year when you would go off the back and catch up, it was only Cat 4.5s, occasionally Cat 3.45, and in this race with the Masters 30 Plus, you also have some Cat 1, possibly Cat 2, Cat 3. You have a lot faster girls, and it's just a little spicy too because a lot of people have matured since last year as racers, and there's better tactics this year. So I think out of this is the third race weekend, and there's been at least 2-3 women that are willing to attack off the front and keep the pace high.
It's more than 2 or 3 because there have been women going for preems. I definitely think, you know, if we can kind of grow the women's field, hopefully we can have some, you know, maybe Cat 3 races or just Cat 5 or 4, you know, so looking forward to helping it grow. So this is all she wrote. I'm going to be waved off to the side, and then I get to watch the finish from across the finish. So thanks for tuning in. Hopefully next time, you know, we'll show something different.